Welcome to the Autistic Culture Podcast, Advocacy Edition. In these episodes, we tackle the issues that matter most to autistic people.
Each week, we share our insights and the experiences of our guests on how to live authentically and thrive as autistics.
I'm Dr. Angela Kingdon, the linguistic autistic.
And I'm Matt Lowry, licensed psychological practitioner. Let's dive into strategies for living your best, most authentically autistic life.
Episode 100. Well, hello, everyone, and especially you, Matt. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Autistic Culture Podcast.
I can't believe we've done it for 100 episodes now. It seems like yesterday that we started. It's a very large number of shows.
And the number is actually bigger because we did 13 book club episodes. And then
the best of episodes.
Right. So then we did, I think we did 13 book club episodes, and I think we did 13 or 14 best of episodes that we did intros for. We didn't record the whole episode again. But we did that. And then we do our Q&A, quarterly Zooms with our paid subscribers. So we crossed the 100 mark some time ago, but these are of our free, available to everyone original episodes. This is officially the 100th. So it's a milestone.
That's really incredible. I'm blown away. This is, if we were Star Trek: The Next Generation, we would be firmly into the good episodes at this point.
Does it take 100 to get to the good ones?
Until Riker grows his beard in season 3.
Yeah, I see your point.
When season 3 hits, then all of a sudden, you don't go to the planet of stereotypes, and there's only one episode with a sex ghost. So you're firmly into good storytelling. They've got everything in gear. They're working on all cylinders. They have good storytelling at this point.
Yes. Well, maybe that will be true for us too. We're just hitting our stride, I hope.
Episode 103, Sex Ghosts.
Sex Ghosts. Hey, listen, actually, that reminds me, I recently, over our recent hiatus we were on, managed to watch a extended Patrick Swayze documentary.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think of as a sex ghost documentary.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he did play one, so.
And now maybe he is one, from what I can tell. I think he is coming back to his wife, who he loved very much, and sex ghosting her up.
The reboot of Touched by an Angel.
Oh, ouch. Wait, I actually like that show. I think I've discussed my thing for angel shows before. What was that? Michael Landon and who's the other guy?
Oh, but they were Highway to Heaven.
Oh, that's Highway to Heaven.
Yeah,
right.
The bearded guy that was on Little House.
Also on Little House. Yeah, that was a favorite. That was a favorite. And then what is the other one about the angels in heaven that has Harry Potter? What's his name? Have you ever watched that show?
No, I didn't know that Harry Potter had another show.
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe?
And he's like an angel, and he goes to heaven, and it's called Miracle Workers. It's absolutely terrible. I love it. So he is in heaven, and he's looking down at the world, and he can like control the world by like making it rain and like blow the paper out of someone's hand so they meet the girl. And
all about like serendipity and that kind of thing.
I love a little of that. And that's what I think Patrick Swayze is doing now.
Making the world a better place, one newspaper at a time.
Right, exactly. And that's what we can do after we die. If this podcast goes on long enough, we could be like a little autistic joy ghosts.
When we truly had the time of our life. And no one ever felt that way before.
Right. Okay, I'm not going to sing it, but that takes a lot for me. You can't just drop an earworm like that to me. Okay, I'm giving you some highlights. We should give people, this is an advocacy episode, so we should give people, like hope and happiness and joy,
It's about time.
mostly mostly we're going to talk about ourselves in this episode. We're going to advocate.
I'll give
Um
people hope about me.
yes, exactly. So, I remember when we made the first list of the topics that we could cover, and
That
we
was a
went,
very, very long time ago.
it was like the summer of 22. Is that
Good
right?
God.
Summer of
Wow.
22, I
Two
think.
and a half years ago at this point.
Mhm. And I made this list that was like, I don't know, a Google Doc, or it might have been an email that we went back and forth in. And I'm going to read you some of the things that were on it. So we the original list, Hans Christian Andersen did it.
Oh, good. We did that one.
Lewis Carroll,
Oh, we still haven't done Lewis Carroll. Oh my
that
God.
was number 2 on the list.
Wow.
James Joyce
Wow. Oh man, we should have hit
didn't do
him
it.
long ago.
Bill Gates,
Oh wow.
haven't touched it. Steve Jobs
We did him.
did that one. Michelangelo.
The turtle or the artist?
Well, we might have talked about the turtle more than the artist. Yeah, the
Wow. Yeah.
artist. He was one of us. And then somebody messaged us in the comments, like yesterday. I was talking to the guy about Da Vinci. Apparently, the
Oh
new
man.
Ken Burns documentary makes it obvious Da Vinci was one of us. He wasn't on our list though.
Well,
But
wow. Yeah. Well, we need to
maybe
have
I'll
him.
do Michelangelo and Da Vinci together. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Next one, Andy Warhol.
Oh yeah. We covered
Nailed
him.
it.
Yeah.
Next one, Charles Schultz.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He was one of the first ones.
Pretty good. And then I can see my innocence here, because I thought we'd just get through this list and we'd be done. I don't even know how much autistic culture and joy there was to spread. The next one was Susan Boyle.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Because
literally,
she is like she's diagnosed and everything.
she's diagnosed and she's out. But what would we talk about on that episode? Hey, remember Susan Boyle, who was on a show once where she sang? She's autistic.
Yeah. She's popular for singing and not being conventionally attractive. Hooray.
And then that's the episode, which would be a short episode, so not quite enough there.
Yeah.
So that's why so a lot of times you guys will recommend episodes and you're like, I love Susan Boyle. You should do an episode on her. That's what we got, so many Courtney Love requests. And I'm like, Courtney Love is autistic. The people who are out are in some ways like less interested, because there's only, what am I going to tell you? There's not that much. I don't have that much to tell you.
Yeah, yeah, that's the ones that lead the very esoteric lives, and like the one we did with oh man, the guy who did the motion pictures, Edward
Oh,
Muybridge.
yeah, Moybridge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's the very very the crime, murders, and all that kind of stuff, and it's this really bizarre life as opposed to yeah, just I'm autistic. I went on a
Yeah.
show.
Just
I
a
got it. I
person,
got paid.
good singer,
Yeah,
got
yeah,
paid. Mm. Okay, but also on our list of musicians, we haven't done most of these. So Courtney Love, we obviously did, but I realized it needed to be an episode about punk. So there's that. We haven't
yeah.
done any of these. Mozart,
Oh wow.
Gary Newman.
Oh really?
That's an episode. We need to do the Gary.
Yeah.
That is an episode. Lady Hawk, although I don't think that's an episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to rehearse. I need to research Lady Hawk, but I don't think there's enough there. And we got this request yesterday or the day before in Autistic Connections, Owl City, Adam Young from Owl City.
Ah, yeah.
So that's on the list. Then we had Benjamin Banneker,
Benjamin Banneker.
who is our Washington, D.C. is autistic.
Oh, that, yes. Like that was like episode 2 or 3.
That was like right at the beginning. We actually recorded it second, but I think it shows up third. So that was awesome. Next one on our list, which maybe you've been a little lazy and you should focus on, was Dan Aykroyd. So I think that was Ghostbusters our first episode?
It might have been.
Or first one after our first one, saying what the project is. Yeah.
Past the intro to Autistica.
Yeah. So
we're
Dan,
still trying to nail this man down and get him on here to talk about the tisms.
it's going to happen. I feel it.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins, haven't done that one.
Oh wow.
Satoshi Tahiri did
Oh
that.
yeah, we did him. Yeah.
Got it. This one comes up and it gets bumped. It's almost every week I'm about to do this one. I have all the research done. Tesla.
Oh man, that'll be a good one.
I know. And then I have the research also for Edison. So I was like,
Oh wow.
combine Tesla and Edison episode.
Well, yeah,
And
because they
then
have to fight.
somebody the other day said we should do a trouble with Tesla episode, like the Temple episode, but on Elon.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
then I was going to do Tesla and Tesla, but then I don't really want to give any extra press to Elon. So I don't,
Yeah,
anyway,
because
didn't get
Elon
there.
is the Thomas Edison of our time, and in every conceivable negative connotation that could have.
Yeah. Okay, I'm almost done with our original list. Next one, Dan Harmon.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Because way back when, the our old producer was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll get Dan Harmon. That's no problem." And I was like, "Really? It's no problem to get Dan Harmon?" She's like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll just call him up and we'll get Dan Harmon." And I'm
Well,
like,
she was
"Oh,
a
that's neat."
really good producer. She was from like Good Morning America or something like that.
Yeah.
But she was doing it on the side for us. Then we
Oh.
started paying people. Because people doing it on the side, not always ideal for
it's
results.
it's nice to do it on the side, but people like the money and
But I feel
the
like we've
living.
talked about Dan Harmon
We did
effectively. We've
Community.
definitely, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would still
Um,
like to get him on the show.
yeah,
Dan
yeah.
Harmon.
Oh,
We
listen,
know the
all
net.
these people.
Yeah,
I'll
we.
take all of them,
Yeah,
except the
dead
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 ones.
Tesla. Yeah.
I was going to say Stanley Kubrick is my next one,
Oh
and that
man,
would be
he
a
would be
hard get.
interesting.
But
He
Ghost
he would.
Sex,
Yeah, yeah. If Zombie Kubrick came back, we would have to do 800 takes for the podcast because he would be perfect about it.
yeah, he really would be.
Yeah.
Tim Burton
Oh
did
yeah.
it.
Took
Emily
a while, but we did
Dickinson
it.
got
Oh yeah.
got we got Emily out early. She was good. Charles Darwin.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Haven't done it. Wrong. We need to
Man.
get to that. I also have a crush on a TikTok creator named maybe like Odd Pride, ODD Pride,
I have no idea.
Odd Pride. She mostly talks about dinosaurs and then Darwin.
Oh. Oh, that would be a good guest.
So yeah, I would like her to come on the show and talk about it. Albert Einstein,
Oh, man, yeah.
Kinsey did
Oh,
it.
hey, we covered.
Sir Isaac Newton,
Oh, oh. And the
which is
creator of
like,
Mavity.
yeah, Mavity. That's true. We have talked about Mavity on this show.
Yeah.
Um, so if you don't get that reference, Doctor Who, timey-wimey reference, more physics, more Doctor Who physics we love. So the thing about Newton that will be such a great episode is like, think of all the things you don't get in the world without Newton. You don't get calculus. You don't get bridges. You don't get space travel. Like that, if we fix Newton's autism, like if he got an early intervention and 40 hours a week of ABA, you don't get bridges.
Wow. I do enjoy a bridge.
Right. For getting to places
Yeah.
across bodies of water?
Yeah, that's really the optimal way because you're not going to stockbroker your way across that.
I mean, otherwise we got like the ferryman. There'd
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
whole
because
big ferryman industry because I
yeah,
feel
the
like
neurotypicals of the
neurotypical
day,
people.
yeah, the neurotypicals of the day would be like, "What? The ferry's too good for you, or not good enough for you? Driving
Right.
across a bridge?"
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Held up by like thoughts and prayers.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
understand how bridges work. But Sir Isaac Newton did. Why autistic? That's why.
yeah.
So much, so much. Okay, two more on our original list, and then there's two other side notes. So, Thomas Jefferson, who we did with Banneker,
Oh yeah,
Wittgenstein, who
Wittgenstein.
he's a philosopher. He's 100% autistic. I would be the only one who enjoyed the episode. But we did cover Wittgenstein if you are a paid supporter in the Good Place, the guy who wrote the book,
Oh, okay.
the ethics, the
Michael
being a
Shore.
good person, the Michael Schur book. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we did talk about Wittgenstein there. And then I wrote this note back in the day when it first started. Would we cover these people? I guess because they're problematic. Bobby Fischer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Chess is
Chess
autistic.
genius, but some other stuff.
Little Nazi
Yeah.
action. And then Temple Grandin.
Ah, yeah. Well, I'm glad we tackled that one because it every time that a therapist says, "Hey, is this training good?" and you say, "Well, here's this episode about their tentpole speaker, Temple Grandin, and how she advocates for eugenics,"
Yeah.
and yeah,
So I have some concerns about this training, but yeah, it's very weird. You can see so much when I see there's like events and I see her picture and I'm like, I get it, butts and seats,
yeah. Well,
but at
that's the
what
thing because
cost?
well, she's got neurotypical name recognition because she's the only autistic speaker that they know.
Right.
Because again, the neurotypicals all sit around and tell the legends of that one autistic who became a doctor because there's only one of us, and that they're like, oh, isn't it so wonderful that she overcame her autism to become a doctor and talk about how terrible the autism is,
Right.
even though she doesn't study autism.
Right. Which
Yeah,
no expertise in that area, like
no,
great expertise on animal murder,
yeah,
which is
yeah. So
also strange, but
yeah,
okay. Like,
yeah.
let's get a
Again,
speaker who knows a lot about animal murder.
yeah. I should not be a speaker on animal murder because I don't know anything about it. I'm
Hmm.
generally against it unless I'm hungry.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Um, but that was our list of shows. I think we've done about half of them. Some of them we'll get to, I think. Our list has definitely expanded thanks to this amazing audience who
it
suggests
it
episodes all the
blows up
time.
all over the place. I and that's the thing because back when we started, I could not imagine going to 100 episodes, but now I can't imagine not limiting ourselves to another 100
Right.
because there's so many things that I mean, even like right now we've it's tough to choose which ones to do each week because the whole link with Sonic the Hedgehog and autistic people, we've got to do that.
And
The
Michael
Orville
Jackson, the
creatures of
Michael Jackson
yes,
connection.
yes, we've got to
Hmm.
do that, and we there's so many advocacy topics, there's so many
Well,
therapy
that's why we
topics,
added
there's
2 a week, because it's like
yeah.
we could do advocacy episodes every week, but then we weren't getting to the culture stuff. And I'm like, I think we need to do 2 a week.
Yeah, there's so many topics, and people keep bringing them up. Like when we start to do Monster High, that's going to be cool because it's so cool. I can't wait for people to hear
Mm,
that one. It's going to
I
be
feel like
huge.
Monster High's been on the list for at least a year, but
It really has because that's the thing. And there's so many things like when My Little Pony was brought up, I didn't know enough about My Little Pony, so I deep dived into it. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of tisms here, and Monster High is one of those where I'm a fan of monsters. I do love a good monster, and it seemed one of those things of yeah, it makes sense, but yeah, there's a much deeper story there. So
mm-hmm.
when people write in about these things and say, "Hey, have you checked this out?" Wow, that's a really great story.
Yeah, and there are so many stories that we've uncovered because of our like personal interest. Like that original list was like just shit we knew, but the fans have brought us like so many great stories. And it's been so much fun to research at like when somebody said to me yesterday, they're like, how come you haven't done Leonardo da Vinci? I was like, didn't know, can't wait. But I want to tell you another thing that was so weird that happened to me. I was with a friend, actually my old college roommate, and I was wearing one of our shirts, which we have 2 stores. We have our T Public store and we have our Don't Forget to Be Awesome store. I need to do something about that. But for now, we have 2 stores. And in the T Public store, there is my favorite episode that we have ever done is the Hans Christian Andersen episode.
Sweet.
And I have a shirt that says not a duck
Yeah.
because of course the ugly duckling is our story. We are not ugly ducks. We are actually beautiful neuro swans. And I have my little neuro swan shirt. And so I was saying to my college roommate, was like, "Oh, what's your shirt about? Why does it say not a duck?" And that's of course why we have the shirt, so we can talk to people. And I was like, "Oh, you know the ugly duckling? That story is about autistic people. Hans Christian Andersen was autistic." And she was like, "Well, how do you know that?" And I'm like, because each of the stories is very similar. And she's like, "Yeah, but he was a successful author. I don't think he was autistic." And I
Ooh.
was like, "Right, like
Ouch.
me. I'm a successful author and
Yeah.
I'm autistic." And she's
I
like,
was gonna say, holy shit. Yeah, go on.
"Yeah." And she's like, "But they weren't diagnosing people. Like, you can't just say this. What gives you the authority to just say he's autistic?" It was a prickly breakfast.
Yeah. Well, it's like, with the Taylor Swift episode, and when I mentioned that in our Facebook group, Autistic Connections, there were a lot of people who are like, "Aha!" I posted this Forbes link in there and
Mm.
says Taylor Swift made $1 billion,
Yeah, you're
and
like
it's like autistic
autistic
woman
woman
is
makes
successful.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then like you can't share her personal data. That's between her and her psychologist. And you're like, "Oh my god." And that's how something about that being very detrimental to her. And why would you think that like, well, why would you think that she's neurotypical? Why is the
Why are we just
neurotypical bias
assuming that?
better? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why is it bad? Why is it wrong? Why is this a thing? Why is it, yeah, instead of just having it as a cultural identity and saying, yeah, this fits like our culture. This fits the way we do things. This is pretty cool.
Right.
Because, the worst that can happen is like, no, I'm not. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the big deal? I this is related. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to make the point anyway. Apparently, I'm watching celebrity documentaries. There's an
Amazing.
Elizabeth Taylor doctor. Yes, thank you. I will now demonstrate autistic amazing. There's an Elizabeth Taylor documentary.
Yeah.
And there was also recently a podcast that I listened to. I really don't care about Elizabeth Taylor, but she keeps coming into my orbit of media consumption. And everyone talks about how she's beautiful. Got it. I can see that. I can see how she's beautiful and how she has purple eyes or violet eyes.
Really?
Yeah, that's her whole thing. She has purple eyes. She does not have purple eyes. She doesn't. She has brown eyes that maybe
Why do
have
they think she
some,
has purple
it's
eyes?
like a very slight, like, I don't know if you've ever seen people whose like hair is dyed so blonde it almost looks purple, like old ladies with the like blue hair or purple
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
There's like, I can maybe see the slightest tint, but really she has brown eyes. It's like not really that. And it doesn't, nobody got mad. Like the purple eyed people of the world didn't get mad. The brown eyed people did,
Are there
because
purple-eyed people?
I don't know, but it's like we say things that we don't know all the time and it doesn't matter. But with this one, I could see my college roommate, longest friend ever, being like, that is very rude to talk about Hans Christian Andersen that way. And I'm
Is she
like,
your friend or Hans Christian Andersen's friend?
right. She was
Like,
like,
what an odd hill to
she's
die
like,
on.
I related to the ugly duckling. She's like, I related to that story.
So
And
you
I'm
took
not
her neurotypical
autistic.
story away from her?
I think so. I think so.
Wow.
But we wrote, you have condensed this, but we wrote a mission statement when we started. And you now reduce that to we're the PR department for autism. But
yeah, yeah,
the original mission statement that I wrote in our Should We Do a Podcast document was the Autistic Culture podcast is at the heart of a movement to define autism as a vibrant culture by exploring history, creativity, and shared experiences and values. We celebrate the richness of autistic life and inspire listeners to embrace autism as a vital part of our collective future and past, for that matter.
yeah. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. That's the thing. There's so much gloom and doom about autism. Side note, I am as of yesterday, I'm going to be a guest for a webinar for the Kentucky Psychological Association,
Hmm.
talking about autism at home,
Congrats.
and mine
That's where I
tends to
like my
be
autism most.
exactly, yeah, because again, there's a lot of gloom and doom out there because it's profitable to say autism is this horrible, horrible condition that needs to be cured, instead of it's a way of life. It's
Right.
just how our people do things. It's totally natural. It is just us. This is our way. This is the way.
The way of our people, the way of Hans
Yeah.
Christian Andersen, who I think Monica was sad he didn't get treated or fixed or something.
Yeah,
And I'm
because
just
then
talking about it.
he would write a story about those ducks, a
Hey,
whole bunch
look,
of ducks.
ducks. And
Yeah,
they eat bread
the
if you
little
throw it at
mermaid that
them.
stayed a mermaid and was happy being a mermaid because she fit in with everybody.
She's just swimming around down there, having a good time,
Yeah,
talking about the weather. Ooh, seas look choppy today.
because you know we this that's the thing we
Have you
just
seen any mermaid sports ball?
yeah,
It,
honestly, man.
mm,
But
mm.
that's but we'll talk more about that when we come back from break. But we've got to
Oh,
go
we
to a break
should
right
go to a
now
break. Oh my God, I just saw. I'm
because
so excited talking about this.
we
Okay, listen, when we come back, I'm going to share with you. We've been talking about us, but I'm going to share with you what our users have, what our listeners, our audience, our fans have been saying about us. So that's what's up when we get back.
Hey, clinicians, are you looking for an affirming way to assess autism and ADHD that bridges the gap between self identification and formal testing? NeuroPebble's diagnostic assessment training for master's level clinicians is here to help you confidently navigate assessments. This course prioritizes lived experience and understanding the nuances in the diversity of traits. You can even get 7 CEUs if you need them. Start today at bit.ly/neuropebble and take the first step towards transforming your practice. At NeuroPebble, every idea is a pebble that paves the path to a more neurodivergent, affirming world. Go to bit.ly/neuropebble to learn more.
And we are back. We've been talking, Matt. This is our 100th episode, and we have been talking about the amazing memories that we have made on this journey. But I am very excited to share what that people like us. I feel
Uh,
like Sally Field.
I'm really really glad because every once in a while I meet somebody out in the real world that is a listener, and it always amazes me because I know that you and Simon are here,
Mm.
because I could see you and
So
I'm
we're
talking to
real.
you directly,
Mm.
but I never really expect that other people out there hear anything that I say, and when people say, "Oh, hey, I like that thing," I honestly, I like it. I don't know how to accept praise very well due to a variety of
Mm.
internal battles that I
Trauma.
fight. Trauma all over the place. So I'm like, yay, good for that.
No, but
That,
it's
yeah,
real.
yeah,
It's real. And you never know when you make something if people are going to listen or if they're going to like it or
yeah,
ever tell
because
you.
yeah,
But I
because
don't
back
know
in
if
the
I
day,
told you, I messaged a bunch of therapists and said, "Hey, I've heard a lot of therapists recommend our show. if you want to be a guest, which I'll share the link in the show notes if you want to be a guest, if you want to be a guest, or if you want advice on which episodes to share with your audience, like let me know. And this offer goes if you're a therapist and you're listening. We're happy to kind of curate a list for you to share with your clients. So I said that, and the number of people that wrote back and were like, "Oh my God, I listen to this show all the time. I love your show. I love Matt. I use his spectrum graphic when I diagnose people." Like, we
Oh
don't hear
my.
about it because we're just like doing our thing with our lives, but it's
Thank you,
nice.
people who listen and like us.
Yeah. So there was one day you said to me something that you were having a bad day. I'm sure it was move related. And I was like, read these. Here's a document of testimonials. And I was like, if you are sad, read these. People like us and they are very happy. So I want to celebrate our audience, our listeners, by reading some of our testimonials. And I'm going to ask you to read along with me. So I broke the testimonials. They come in 4 flavors. My favorite flavor is the theme we hear over and over, which is validation. So many of you have shared how this podcast has helped you feel seen and understood. Like this comment, this is from Jillian. She said, "Thank you so much for this podcast. I see myself in every episode and I feel like I'm home. I'm
Oh,
female. I'm turning 50 this year. I've long suspected I'm autistic, yet my concerns were dismissed and diagnosed as a cocktail of other crapola. And I so appreciate your approach to embracing our strengths."
oh, thank you very much. That's awesome.
Yay. Okay. I put one
Uh,
up for you to read. Yep.
And here's one from Jonah. I recently figured out at 49 years old that I'm autistic. This podcast has been helping me not only understand myself better, but celebrate the parts of myself I had long been taught were wrong or shameful.
Mm,
I'm glad, Jonah. I'm glad that you're out, and I'm glad that you're bolstering yourself and reclaiming who you are.
right. Okay, we heard from Nicole, and Nicole said, "I'm a recently diagnosed autistic adult. I just found your podcast, and in true autistic fashion, I am deep diving and listening to all of them as I work, drive, exercise.
This
Thank you
is
for
the
this
way.
gift. This is the way. That's how I do it too. This is thank you for this gift. There are episodes that have brought literal tears of validation to my face, and to hear you speak about autistic traits so positively has been very healing, even in a short amount of time."
Oh, that's very nice.
I love
I
that.
I I hope that you're enjoying this episode in a drive or working out as we speak.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, this one is from Margulies, uh, Juliana or otherwise. Just found your
It's probably Juliana Margulies. She's going to say, "Matt, can I move to Kentucky and be your girlfriend?"
okay.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just found your podcast today. I feel so seen and empowered by the way you both talk about autism as a culture and as something to revel in and strive for. I'm very happy. Looking forward to watching / listening to your backlog of episodes. We're happy to have you. Welcome to Autistica.
Yay. So sometimes people don't know what to say in like a review, but literally these kinds of messages mean so much. And also, I think it validates other people that are maybe not review writers, but reading it and knowing there is community. Like, even though podcasts aren't amazing for community, we have a little bit with our paid subscribers, we do calls, but it's not like as good maybe as social media, even though some social media things are darker. But when you see that other people are having that same experience, I like that she talked about like striving for
Yeah,
that, because you can have this orientation.
indeed. And that's again, we're the PR department for autism to show that you can live a happy and healthy autistic life.
Yes. Both of us are parents. We both have young men that we are responsible for. And when we started the show, I thought of us as making this for autistic adults, but right away, parents started messaging us. And obviously, we talk about our kids, 2 different ages. I have an 18-year-old. You have an 8-year-old?
9. Well, he just
9.
turned 9.
Oh, that's right. You just had a birthday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have a 9 and an almost 19-year-old. By the time you listen to this, Jesse will be 19. So different parenting stages, but obviously being autistic as parents, there are issues, and then having autistic kids, there are issues. And we hear from parents all the time.
We've also had some deeply moving messages from parents and families, like this one from Bridget. Thank you, my friends. When my son's superhero play therapist, which is now my career goal because,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's
It
superhero
goes
play
with your
therapist.
company name, Cape.
That is, yeah, that's fantastic. When my son's superhero play therapist recommended resources, this was her top one. You've helped me fully embrace my son's beautiful brain, advocate for him, and navigate the chaos of this world. Ah, that's the highest compliment possible because chaos is our natural enemy.
Yes, indeed. We will fight the demons of chaos together. Carla said, this show has broadened my perspective of autism. Thank you so much. I want my son to live his best autistic life. He was recently diagnosed, and this has encouraged me and made me happy.
Oh, good.
So that's a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, from Professor James Lee, uh, of assuming that this is a title, not a very formal
Yeah,
college.
I mean, he could actually
Yeah.
be.
Thank you for the show. I am another child to parent pipeline, late diagnosed autistic. Congratulations. And your show has been incredibly validating and helped me overcome a lot of the painful imposter syndrome that has come with this realization. Thank you to you and Matt for helping me learn to live my authentic best life. We're glad to have you. Congratulations, and thank you for being a professor. That's cool.
Um, I feel like this doesn't happen to you as much because you are so, I don't know, well studied and well versed, but the painful imposter syndrome thing is real. Like even 2 years into hosting the show, it will occur to me in a panic that I am not autistic. And I'm like in that conversation that I was having about Hans Christian Andersen, I completely shut down. I ran out of words. Like I know all the words. I have a podcast. I write papers with the words. I have a blog. I do all the things, but I was like, wait, do I not know what autism is? Am I not autistic? Should I take a quiz? Maybe I should take an online quiz and see if I'm autistic. Like I literally get confused and it feels like some sort of like invasion of my brain. I'm not confused. I'm very well aware I'm autistic. I have all of the trauma to show for it.
I get imposter syndrome in not that I'm autistic because oh boy, with the same foods and the fact that I've got a kid who's just like me and the fact
Right.
that I only want to do 5 things, but that my line of work is as easy as it is because when I talk with people and say, oh yeah, you need to treat yourself better, yeah, and
Oh,
I do the whole trainings thing where I say, have you considered that we're human beings? And
right.
it seems like stating the obvious on so many accounts, but then people are like, oh my God, I never thought of that way. Autistic people are indeed human beings. I didn't know you could breed. Well, yes, we can. Thank you, sir. And yeah, it's every once in a while, and again,
It's
I'll run
like
into
if this is true, which obviously
yeah,
it is, but if this is true, what the hell is the whole ABA industry?
right, exactly.
What?
Yeah, because again, combating that and trying to, teach people about, the neurodiversity, teaching people about our wiring and how we have this multifaceted, uh, rich experience that other people don't have, and then trying to explain that to people. And they're like, no, it should just be behaviorized out of you. And
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while, I'm like, am I the one that is totally off base? And it
Right.
really, really helps to have people say, oh, I'm so glad that you validated me and my way of life in my brain because you're the only one who understands this. All these other people are spewing nonsense. And it makes me feel good because I'm like, the world is bizarrely off kilter in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I in one of my psychology classes, there was a video that I thought was like a good resource. There was a video that we had to watch like with our reading for that week, and it was like autism explained by an autistic teenager. And I thought, well, that's a great resource. Like, I'm glad we're listening to autistic people.
I
How
hope so, but you haven't said the last half of the story yet, so we will see.
so he's in the car and he's explaining his autism to his mom, and she is videotaping it, presumably for social media in some sort of aren't autistic children so cute, let me exploit them for my social media, which is probably called like autism mom hacks or
Yeah.
something. So I'm already like, why does the mom need to be there? He looks like he's 19 and he is clearly autistic. There's no doubt about it, but also happens to have a learning disability and
As a
or
lot of
some
us do.
sort of intellectual disability. I think about a third of us.
Which
And
is average for the population in general.
oh, fascinating. And he is explaining really his intellectual disability or or being cute in a way because he's not understanding some basic things, which is then being wrapped up with autism. Like he's not talking about his special interest, he's not talking about his monotropic focus, he's not talking about his same foods or safe foods. He's really talking about his intellectual disability, but describing it as autism.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with this video. It's clearly an autistic person explaining his experience in life. But if I were going to pick one example to explain autism from an autistic person, would I pick somebody with an intellectual disability as the without saying this is a percentage, but not all of the population?
Yeah, when we're more likely to be gifted than allistic people.
Oh, that's interesting too,
Yeah, where
but not
fun
surprising
fact: neurotypical people can't be gifted or have intellectual disabilities because that's not typical.
because typical would be 100 or
Yeah, yeah,
probably somewhere
90 to
between,
110.
I was going to say probably somewhere between 90 and 110.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That is typical. Neurotypical people cannot be gifted, but autistic people can and are often up to 8 times more likely.
yeah. Well, that sounds more accurate to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's very hard to combat. Like, do I comment on that video and like that's not, I'm not saying this person doesn't have a valid experience as an autistic person. He obviously is.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
Well, that's
mm,
the thing that feeds into the autistics need allistic people to take care of them, and this is why we feed the autism mom. You know, look at me and these poor autistic people pipeline instead of the rich, varied experience of autistic people and all the struggles that we face as independent people.
right. Anyway, okay. Also in the family conversation, not an annoying autism mom is Julie, who says the conversations around autism and culture have been invaluable to our family. We love the deep dives into autistically coded bits and bobs. Thank you for sharing your passion.
Oh,
Yay. I love that. We've already talked about so many late diagnosis. We do get a lot of people with a late diagnosis, and often that is because kids are being diagnosed better at the right time.
yeah,
And then we know autism is hereditary,
yeah.
although maybe the professors in my psychology department do not know that as well as I do.
A friend of mine has an autistic kid and has recently realized that she's autistic herself, and tried to come out at work. But her boss, who is a therapist, said,
Mm.
"No, you can't be autistic. You make too much eye contact, etc., etc., etc." Because, you know,
Why?
bizarre
It's
misinformation.
so not hard again with the it's so easy, how do we have jobs? But
Yeah.
like it's so not hard to figure out it's hereditary. What are
No.
you thinking? What are you thinking? Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing because when we did the bad diagnosis episode after my
Yeah.
son was diagnosed,
Badly.
the neurotypical who diagnosed my son said, "Well, no one really knows why someone becomes autistic, but it could be cured." And this, and I was like, "No, none of that is true," and this and that and everything else. And he was like, "Well, agree to disagree." And
No, it's
no,
not agree to
no,
disagree.
facts. There are
Eh,
facts. There's evidence to
what?
support all of this. You're just spewing nonsense.
So bizarre. My nephew got a diagnosis recently, a neurodivergent diagnosis, but not an autism diagnosis. And a couple things seemed not terrible, lovely, but a couple things seemed a little off to me. Not much, but I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure he's autistic, but okay, maybe ADHD. There's so much crossover, and I honestly think they might even be the same thing. So I'm like, okay, maybe. But then she did, the pamphlet you got at the end?
Yeah.
Her version of the pamphlet, like I looked at her recommended resources and they were all neurotypical people, not neurodivergent people, giving advice to parents of neurodivergent people on how to make them seem less neurodivergent. So never in the autism eval did she mention the hereditary component.
Of course
And
not.
then she's giving resources that I know aren't right. And I'm like, to me, you got to throw this diagnosis out. Like the tests were real, but the interpretation of the tests don't make sense when they're coming from someone who's recommending resources from someone who isn't even ADHD
Yeah. On
on
that
how
note,
to fix it.
we have some resources for our listeners in the form of a commercial. But we will come back right after this break to talk more about.
More amazing testimonials from people that we will share.
Indeed.
Hey, everybody, this is Angela, and I have an incredible opportunity to share with you from friend of the pod and one of my favorite authors that I've had the opportunity to work with, Becca Lori Hector. Becca's book, Always Bring Your Sunglasses, is a heartfelt and honest look at life through the lens of an autistic adult, filled with insights, personal stories, and a heck of a lot of empowerment. And she is offering it totally 100% free to our listeners. All you have to do is visit alwaysbringyoursunglasses.com. That's alwaysbringyoursunglasses.com for a free copy of Becca's book.
That was a very good resource. Yeah,
It was perfectly timed for our late diagnosis and discovery testimonials here. These are all reviews we've gotten. This one's from Amanda, who said, I recently started listening to your podcast after my late diagnosis at 55. I'm a former journalist, PR exec, and recovering litigator trying to figure out my next chapter. Thank you so much for the lifeline. And I think that happens to a lot of us after a late in life diagnosis. Can't go back to the way it was without getting the results you got before. So,
yeah. You're suddenly massively aware of all of these needs that you've been suppressing for all of this time. And once you're aware of these needs, you can't go back to just plowing through like you once did because it destroys us.
Yeah.
And that's like with Brooke Elizabeth. She says, at 39, I'm one of the elder millennial girls funneled into gifted programs in the early 90s who never received their much needed autism diagnosis. I'm there with you, Brooke.
Mm.
Thank you so much for helping me better understand autism and myself. We're glad to have you. You're definitely one of my people. I was right there in the gifted program around that time with you because, you know, they just got all the kids who like to study and like to make, presentations and dioramas and study things. And yeah, who knew?
Yes, exactly. What a coincidence. How shocking.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is from Weber, who says, being back in my work with people with different abilities, as my mom would say, or disabilities, as society says, I love listening to your explanations, insights, facts, and funnies. I'm
Oh.
sharing this with all my coworkers. Lots of good stuff here that helps me put into words what I have felt in my gut for years about square pegs like me who don't fit in the round hole. I love the part about, how are you? I'm fine.
Ah,
I remember Johnny Carson doing a whole monologue on this when I was a kid. And ever since then, I felt better about not wanting to have to say that greeting.
that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad. Ah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Um,
And this is, if you're listening to Johnny Carson, you are in the elder millennial, in the elder autistic category. And this next testimonial is as well.
uh, this person says, OMG, I love this podcast. So much resonates with my life. I'm recently self diagnosed at age 75, can't find
Yeah.
resources for adult autistics in my state, which is a whole nother story. And indeed, it is.
Mm.
It's a rough thing. I'm there with you. I've always known I was different from my peers, whether in school or at work. Often told that I was, quote, so smart, but, quote, so cold.
Mm.
Always thought I was an outlier, but until recently didn't have a framework for explaining that dimension myself that made sense. And BDW, when I was 9 or 10, my special interest was religions. I researched the major religions in order to
Obviously.
understand what they were saying and why. I did that myself.
Me
Uh,
too.
I was looking for patterns, as is the way. Didn't know that until I was much older, and I found them.
Mm.
Congratulations.
Yep. Yep. There are patterns.
Yeah,
Angie says, as a kid, I was 100% convinced I was an alien, possibly from Jupiter.
yeah,
You
yeah.
could
That's
not
the
tell
way.
me otherwise. I was diagnosed with autism. I like that she didn't pick Mars because she's like, I'm definitely not a Martian. There's some neurotypical aliens. I'm from
Yeah.
Jupiter. I was diagnosed with autism in November at 33 years old. So, yeah, kid me was kind of right. I just got the planet wrong. She was from
Oh,
Autistica. Says, so glad I found you both.
that's so cool.
So, autistic joy is a concept that seems very like fun and frivolous and playful, but I actually think it is very political because we are not allowed to have autistic joy. We are not
Yeah.
allowed to squeal in delight at electrical towers
Yeah.
or whatever. For me, baby crowded
The
house concerts in Liverpool.
the ABA
Um,
people of the world really want to stamp that out because it's off-putting that neurotypical people, due to neurological limitations, cannot experience joy on the level that we can.
yeah. Sorry about that, glimmers. I
Yeah.
mean, we get it worse, but we get it better.
Yeah, Lauren NYC says Angela and Matt provide a wonderful format to explore autistic culture in an affirming, thoughtful, and entertaining way. It's one of my go tos for brightening my day and feeling connected to my culture and my community.
That's why you're here. Ruth says this podcast has made my ADHD diagnosis a joyful and inspiring experience. So
Oh,
grateful
good.
for your highly entertaining and enlightening podcast.
Oh,
So, let's see.
I'm going to get an inflated ego.
That's what I'm trying to do. Bill, you could listen back to this if you're ever having a bad day.
Uh,
Um,
and
so,
here's one from Lynthamus.
I
It's
think it's Lynn.
Oh, Lynn.
Mm, yeah.
Oh, it would be Lynn Thomas. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
Okay. Here's one from Lynn. It's great to find affirming and joyful Lynn Thomas. What
Mm.
do I
See what you
be?
did there?
Okay. Yeah.
Eh.
It's great to find affirming and joyful content about being neurodivergent. I recommend this to anyone interested in autistic culture. I'm glad. Yay.
Yeah, well, please do that. We are going to ask you to do that very shortly. I'm going to share like two more of these, but we need you to actually tell people about the show. We need more people to know about the show, and we need you to not just leave reviews, but post about us on social media. share your favorite episodes. If you see somebody talking about a topic we've covered, please recommend us, like somebody said their therapist did. We have somebody said, I love how accepting and positive the hosts are about autism. Every episode makes me feel like I just hung out with two like-minded friends. Thank you for all you do to make autistic folks feel more loved, valuable, and heard.
Oh. Amber says, I recently discovered your podcast while trying to figure out what the heck a late autism diagnosis actually means for me. Thank you for helping me connect to my autistic culture. The podcast brings me so much joy. In every episode, I have several aha moments of realizing it's not just me. I'm glad.
Yep. And last one we'll share. Bryn says, I didn't expect to cry so much while cooking and listening to you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh.
Hearing like there's a place for our people warmed my heart. As someone who always loves stories with magic and dragons,
Ah.
I am filled with joy, and I wish there was something like this to read when I was a kid at the library. I'm usually really too shy to comment, but this moved me so much. I wish the best for you and this show.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So those are just some of the comments. There are hundreds and hundreds. We appreciate you guys so much, and that's why we're asking for more. That feels rude. That feels
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
is
This is
nice,
so
but how
wonderful.
about,
It's insufficient.
yeah, I love it all, but I'd trade it all for a little more.
Hmm. Rude. That's
Yeah.
why I'm going to make you beg for the reviews, Matt. Grovel.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. Okay, so again, we are the PR department for autism, but we could only do that if people hear the message and if people get the word out and say, "Hey, autism's pretty cool. Check out this podcast where you can learn all about it." It really helps our people. It helps the mission. It helps grow the awareness so that my job is my job of telling people, hey, have you realized that we're actually human beings? Hopefully, at some point, will become redundant
You just
because
go away.
everyone
Unemployed.
out there will know that we're human beings, and I'll have to work a wee bit harder because that they'll say, "Oh yes, human beings, we got you, equal footing. Now what?" And
Yeah.
then I'll have to come up with a plan.
You'll
So
you'll have to, maybe you'll go back to school like me and try and figure it out. And then I'll be like,
exactly.
why did I go back to school? They don't even need this. Everybody figure it out. We're just people.
Yeah, that make it happen.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
Okay.
Share us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube and the website and Substack and what else?
Yeah, I think those are the main places. Usually you can either review or you can rate. Obviously it's great if you do both, but if you rate, all you're literally doing is there are like empty stars. There's like 5 empty stars, and you just click on the number of stars you want to give us. We have something like 200 ratings, and they're almost all 5 stars, but there are like 2 motherfuckers out there who gave us 1 star. But I
Was it?
feel like I'm happy about those.
Well, there's one person who complained about the Parks and Rec episode because, like, Leslie Knope can't possibly be autistic. I'm a professional. I know these things.
1,
Like, yeah,
rating it a 1.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm okay
like,
with those people. We have a
yeah,
4.9 overall, so I'll
yeah.
take
So,
it. You
so
rate us whatever you want.
if you like what we do, go back to the Parks and Rec episode and rate it a 5 just to
Right.
combat the
Yeah.
negativity.
Get on
So
in there.
yeah.
And it can be like confusing or hard to figure out how to do it. You can literally type into Google or Chat GPT, like, how do I leave a review for a podcast? And you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to do that. The reviews, which are what we've been reading to you, they really make a huge difference, but ratings matter too. They look at the percentage. So this is kind of cool. We've had close to 300,000 downloads now. I think
Oh
it's like
my.
292 or something. But in the month of December, we had 40,000 downloads.
What?
Yeah. So if you think
Wow.
about it, like, we've been around for 2 years, we've had like 300,000 downloads, but 1/6 of those happen in the last month. They're not like evenly distributed. So what happens, part of how they decide whether or not to suggest our podcast, and we are not often suggested, like we're not on the homepage. We haven't won any like best, we have won a couple like little awards like Good Pods, but like in the Apple Podcast, they recommend shows to listen to, and we've never been recommended because they look at this percentage of how many downloads do you get versus how many reviews.
Oh,
And
wow.
we don't have a high enough percentage. So people like listen, they might like us, they come back and listen again, but because they're not reviewing it, Apple Podcasts and Spotify aren't recommending us to people who listen to similar podcasts. So that's why, even though I read you that and then I was like, I need more, give me more. It's because it's the percentage. Getting more listeners actually is pushing us down in the rankings because our reviews aren't matching. And the algorithms are like, if it was that good, people would leave reviews.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who just listen to us on the toilet, and
Yeah,
they forget. Or it's Tom from Tulsa who can't possibly leave 40,000 reviews because he's too busy listening on multiple devices all the time, forever,
that's what
always.
happens.
Thank you, Tom from Tulsa.
Thanks, Tom from Tulsa. So, okay, you also, because we are getting lots of listens, a couple therapists and course providers have reached out to us. And I just wanted to let people know you can sponsor an episode for $500. So if you want us to do an episode for you, if you want an ad on our episode, if you want to share a project you're doing or something like that, you can have a spot. They're called like pre-rolls or post-rolls. And so we can put one of those little ads for you. And if you have a therapist or a product that you like or a service, you can actually recommend that to them as well. And if you want to be a guest, I'll put this in the show notes, but you can find how to be a guest. We have a form for you to fill out. You can recommend someone who should be on the show, or you could recommend yourself. And also we have volunteer opportunities. So I will link to all of that. I wanted to go out with a bang. So we're going to wrap this episode up with a little rapid fire trivia. Matt, are you ready?
I am ready. I've got some trivia questions for you based on our past episodes. Let's see how well you remember our own podcast. Da, 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 da. Which is our most listened to culture episode?
Taylor, hands down.
Yeah, that would probably make sense.
The Taylor Swift episode has twice the downloads of any other episode. But then I can't remember what the next one was, but it's weird. It was for a long time it was Charles Schultz.
Really?
People
I figured
love
it'd be like
Peanuts.
Eminem.
Yeah, no, Peanuts. Peanuts
That's
was
good.
up there.
That's
But
awesome.
now it's Taylor.
Yeah. Which advocacy episode is the most requested and played?
Do you know this one?
I don't.
It's
which one
it's your autistic centered therapy episode
Really?
because we have so many therapists that listen.
Oh, hi, therapist.
It's like we should finish your book on autistic centered therapy or something.
It'll happen at some point. Maybe
It's coming.
soon.
It's coming.
Yeah.
The move is over. The holidays are over. This
Yeah,
is the year 2025 Matt's autistic centered therapy book.
We'll get it out there.
Yes.
What is one of the most autistic things about the character Belle from Beauty and the Beast? Oh, that's awesome.
I feel like I should play that back to you about the Beast.
Yeah.
Bells. There's so many things, and that's such a great episode. I'm gonna say though, all the people in the town thinking she is weird for reading books, but she does it anyway because she can't get her nose out of the book.
Yeah, because they always say that she's so odd because she likes reading and she,
so weird. It's so weird. Why would you
doesn't go around
read?
socializing and yeah.
What's the most autistic thing about Beast?
He is a hairy loner who sits around with his magic stuff all holed up in his castle. And
Can't see why you relate to him.
Yeah, I actually since over time I actually have Cogsworth and Lumiere and Mrs.
Oh,
Potts and Chip up there
I see
because
Mrs. Potts and Chip and Cogsworth. Oh,
yeah, they have
and you don't need
added to the.
Beast. You have yourself.
I am Beast.
You're
I've
here.
got the fangs. I've got. I shaved the hair because it's. I didn't want to like, it's cold outside and I don't want to be wet and cold. But
No,
you know, uh, we have had two guests on twice. Can you name our two timing guests?
our two timing guests.
Yeah, they're on many podcasts, going out and
Mm.
telling people. Yeah, who are
So, do you
our
know this?
I think that Ariel was on.
Ariel, because she did belly dancing and business, being
Yeah.
a neurodivergent business owner, and Kat Flora,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Kat Flora, who did the Trouble with Kentucky Kids, and our episode that you probably just heard on the hell that is academia.
yeah. I can't remember if that's aired yet or if it will air because we live in this timeless,
It has now
timey-wimey area.
aired. It has
Yeah.
not aired, but it will have aired by the time this airs.
Yes, because it's
So,
before or after 100. Yes.
correct.
Which autistic TV show have we talked about in the most episodes?
Doctor Who, because like not an episode can go by that we don't talk about
Yeah.
Doctor
Even the aforementioned sentence. So,
Who. Right.
yeah,
But I have a question. Did you watch the Christmas special?
I
Have you
did.
watched it yet?
Yeah,
I loved it,
yeah.
except I don't really know what happened. I was like, this is going to be the best episode ever. This is going to be the best episode ever. I totally love the doctor right now. I love the girl. I love the time hotel. I loved all of it. And then I was like, well, did it end? What
Yeah. Yeah, Joy became the Christmas star and became the joy to the world.
but how did it all? It fell apart
Timey-wimey.
for me. It was
Yeah.
very timey-wimey.
Yeah. Yeah, because the doctor spent a whole year being a regular person instead of jumping from place to place because that was.
I
And
liked that,
that's
and I liked when he
which.
made friends with the hotelier lady.
Yeah, which is a recurring theme because the David Tennant doctor, the offshoot 14th Doctor, trauma doctor, had to settle down and take it easy because going from place to place to place when there's no chairs in the TARDIS, you have to take a break once in a while and just live life.
Yes. Well, we have lots of good things. Lots of good things to come for our next 100 episodes. We have 10 Guardians of Autistica
Oh
who
wow,
we
nice!
inducted. You ran the induction ceremony. I was
I did do that.
I was confused and at an airport hotel, but we have inducted our 10 Guardians of Autistica. Very grateful to them for holding space for all of the listeners alongside us. We're trying to make the show better and better. We've got live shows coming up that our paid supporters will be able to come to soon. That is something to look forward to. What are you
I've
looking forward to?
I've got a large box propped up with a stick, with with a book that says ghost stuff under it, with which I hope to trap Dan Aykroyd, and then we'll be able to talk to him about ghost
Ghost
stuff.
sex?
Yes.
And we are going to rename the podcast Ghost Sex.
Yes.
So
Yeah. That of course. Yeah.
that's coming
Why?
soon
Why
too.
would we not?
Why would we not?
Yeah.
But I know it has been a lot of work. I am so grateful for your friendship, your partnership, everything. I think it's 1% of podcasts reach 100 episodes. It's like a tiny
Really?
fraction. Yeah.
Wow.
So we've
And
had listeners in 50 countries.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really impressive.
I hope we're helping people. I think we are, though. That's
I
why
hope
I
so.
needed to hear some of those quotes and why we need to see even more reviews from you guys. We have shared our wins, our dreams, the values that guide us. We are in this for the long haul. Don't go anywhere. There is so much more good stuff to come. Please stick around for at least another 100 episodes. I think I'm telling you this more than anyone, Matt. I wouldn't want to do it without you. So
Yeah, it's a blast doing this with you, and here's to several hundred more.
yes, I will toast with square water. Cheers.
Cheers. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to the Autistic Culture Podcast Advocacy Edition.
Be sure to tune in for our Autistic Culture episodes every Tuesday, where we celebrate autistic contributions to society, culture, and history.
For even more autistic culture, consider becoming a paid member for exclusive perks, like live Q&A calls with us, a virtual writing circle, and our new Self-Defined Living course by Becca Laurie Hector.
Fun fact, Matt, it actually costs us $8 for every minute that people see or hear on the podcast. But our member pricing is just $8 a month.
What a bargain!
What a bargain! Buy 1 minute and get 500 minutes for free. Seriously, if you can afford this, we really appreciate your contribution. It makes all this possible.
And of course, the best way everyone can support what we are doing is to rate, review, share, and subscribe on Substack or your favorite podcast app.
This is the way.